Hi everyone. Yeah, this is Ashley or Thunder Mistress, however you know me. And yeah, I just downloaded Camtasia because I have to do something with it for work. And I thought I've had someone who's wanted to sort of see my work process before. And I was very lazy. I didn't really get around to explaining it or playing with his pictures, which he very kindly sent to me. But yeah, with Camtasia, I can record my screen. So I thought it'd be interesting to sort of. I just took some pictures of roses in my backyard earlier. And I thought I'd just go through a little bit. And although probably people pictures are more interesting, you can kind of see my thought process. I'll try to talk through my thought process as I'm going through my pictures. And I was running in the rain earlier, so I've lost a bit of my voice, I think, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I tend to take like a lot of pictures of the same thing over and over, and I'm very picky. Like these two images are pretty much the same, but one's slightly more to the right, and I like the composition of that more, so this one can get deleted. And with rose pictures, generally for me, I like to sort of make them dark and moody. I really hate like when I put on auto settings with my camera. I find that the red gets really blown out and the whole picture just looks absolutely awful. So what I generally do to make sort of the tones deeper and richer is I turn down the vibrance or the saturation. And you're like, hey, what are you doing that for? Don't you want the beautiful red that's here? But then that lets me bring up the exposure a little bit more and up the contrast a bit. And instead of getting like, maybe I shouldn't have done that straight away. But instead of getting really blown out, horrible, stark red colors, you get sort of these deeper, more luscious tones, which are much nicer to look at. So like, I can turn up the black here and add a little more shadow. It's getting a bit dark, so I can make it a bit brighter, but the red's not too compromised. So yeah, so from that, you get something sort of deep and wonderful and rich. Like, oh, I love roses after they've been raining, absolutely. Like I love, this sort of the petals along there, and yeah. So I don't know. I'm a little bit too snap happy. I've always said this to my friends, and my friends know this. I've had one too many karaoke nights with about 200 photos, and they're all like, "Why did you do that for, Ashley?" But yeah, I don't know why I haven't taken flower pictures that much anymore. But yeah, no, I really enjoy it though. So this is me again, sort of trying to pick out exactly, what I'd like or don't like, or what's slightly more in focus. Oh, and then it lags my computer to high heaven as well. I need more RAM. Let's see. I think this is probably the blurriest, so this one's going away. I'm trying to be a little bit more liberal with my deleting. I used to be very anal about it, and I used to keep everything, but I'm just running out of space. So I kind of have to be a little bit more, what's the word, generous. So I think for me, like, if you look here, that's slightly more in focus than in this one. Just like ever so slightly. See, like, if you can see right in here, there. And compared to that. So that one can go away. And I'll hold on to this one. And, I mean, another way to sort of make the red tones, like, a little bit darker and deeper and richer for me. Like, okay, if I left it as it is, right, and I up the contrast. This one's, okay, this is a poor example, but you can kind of see the red sort of blowing out around here, and this is all getting a bit too dark. So I try to up the exposure some more. It's just going to go, and that's just, look at that, that's just not very friendly. So let's get rid of all that again. Okay, so I love putting blues because it really brings out the reds. What do I want to do? Turn on saturation a little bit. There's a lot of trial and error in these things, I suppose. Like, and for me personally, I like, rich, strong colors and a fair bit of contrast, especially with flowers, because they already are so beautiful. So, see, the center's looking a little bit too dark in there for me, so I might just put a little bit of fill light there. Sometimes I play with the curves, but this usually covers everything I want it to up here. Let's see down here. Sometimes I also like to play with split toning. It kind of gives it, maybe it's a bit too bright. Split toning is, a bit of good fun as well. I think it really, it's fun to sort of alter the colors a little bit. My stock standard favorite to do is sort of a yellow highlight and sort of a blue shadow. Although it's not really showing up here. Maybe more of a green shadow. So, I mean, when you play with these again, then you have to adjust, up here. Like, it's obviously dark a little bit more. So now, again, I could probably put up my contrast a bit. Yeah, and you know, I kind of like how the background here has changed a little bit from what it was. So, yeah, if you're not using Lightroom, you really should be. It's so convenient, you know, for a photographer. And you know, lens. I love lens vignetting, however you say it. I like it. You know, I think you're supposed to use it to sort of get rid of all that, but it's so pretty. Why would you do that? So a couple more photos. Let me see. These are just a bit. It's pretty, but it's nothing special for me. I mean, I suppose I could edit the colors and I get something pretty out of that. So you can obviously see with this one, this is way out of focus compared to that one. So you want to delete that. We go back to that one. I want to see if I can make sort of the reds pop out. See, I mean, look, you just turn on the blacks and how much richer does the red become without having to play around with the, you know, the lightness of it too much. But I want it kind of moody as well, so I will turn down the saturation anyway. And this just makes it, you know, it's not as bright, brilliant red, but it is more moody, which is what I'm going for anyway. And then therefore, I can play a little bit more of the contrast and bring out, you know, make it more of a focal point rather than having it pushed into the background. I've started to use, oh, look at the teardrops. I've started to use more of the manual setting on my camera. Like, I think it's interesting how comfortable you sort of get with it after you've, you know, used it for a bit. I mean, something I tend to do is I will tend to, that's great. I will tend to sort of take one photo on auto and see what it gives me, and then I can adjust it from there, you know. So you kind of have an idea of what the camera's doing and what the settings should be. And I mean, you know, most of, I suppose, people who do understand shutter speed and aperture know what, you know how it'll change when you up or down it, or, you know, move it around a bit and change it. So I'm finding it a very good learning, learning tool. Too tired. But yeah, see that? Look how much that's changed from that, you know, and it just becomes this beautiful, rich, and I don't know. Is photographers, are we not supposed to share trade secrets? I'm not sure, but anyway. See, I really love the. I'm pointing with my finger, so I gotta keep my finger on the mouse. I really love these curves here. Like, I could zoom in on that probably, because this is all a little bit distracting at the front here. I mean, a rule of thirds is something I stick to a fair bit, but there's something, I don't know how to describe it. I think Jake Garn once did a really good tutorial on sort of the spiral composition, because it's not just about, you know, rule of thirds, and, you know, there's something else about the way a picture is sort of angled or positioned that sort of gives it its allure or, you know, interest. So these aren't very good because these aren't focused at all. I hate it when you look, you know, and you see on a small screen, and then it looks really good, but of course when you blow it up, then it just looks absolutely miserable. This one looks promising. Yeah, see, that's much better than that. Look how pretty. I find it quite interesting to sort of zoom in really close, because then you suddenly see a different angle that you didn't, you know, or a crop you may not have noticed before. So I might actually just zoom in on that, because I thought that was really pretty. It's a bit tighter than that, so something like that. Oops. There we go. And if you're not shooting in RAW, you really should be. I can't really tell you why, because I don't understand it fully myself, but it helps a lot. I promise you that much. So, I'm not sure. I like this, but it's not doing its magic. I think it needs more contrast. The highlights need to come out a bit more. But then I'm just getting too dark when I do that. So I might come down here, play a little bit more with that. Oh, I should have turned the ISO down. I kind of like that. What is it? It's missing. There we go. So I've sort of richened the color a little bit more by adding some green tones in, adding some green tint in there. I wish I could sound more pro with what I was doing, but I really can't. I might actually, because see, when I look here, this bit here is sort of bothering me. So, although I generally like to try to stay with photo proportions, sometimes you just gotta like adapt it a little bit to what you want or need.